Hello there, and welcome to kind of the first episode of Tools for Students. Kind of the first episode because the introductory one's just kind of giving you the backstory to why it is that I think using tools like I'm going to show you in this episode and in future ones, why I think it's so important for students to use such tools and researchers and anybody involved in kind of the academic world, I suppose, and maybe anybody that's just interested in the world and what's going on out there. Particularly good for students. These tools will help you strategize your learning, help you kind of collect and collate and connect ideas. And the first tool we're going to look at is a tool called Zotero, Zotero. I'm going to show you it. I'll show you the website that you can download it from. It's free to a point, but it's free enough for you to get everything out of it that you need. The only part of it that isn't free is if you want to sync it to their server so that everything's stored with them. But if you've got your own Dropbox, you can utilize and have it stored on there so that you can access it from other machines that you might want to install Zotero on as well. So free product Zotero, it's a product that will help you collate your journal articles and web pages, have them all together and be able to take notes, highlight things and collect all of that together. So that's what I'm going to show you. So let's have a look at that. Let's get that on the screen now and take our first step into strategizing our learning. Okay, so here we go. Let's start on the Zotero web page. So we can download it. We need to get it onto the computer so we can start utilizing it. So here's the Zotero website. Let's just go back so you see what it looks like when you first arrive at it. It looks like this. Let the internet catch up. That's what it looks like. It calls it your personal research assistant. It's very good. It's going to help us, as it says, collect, organize, annotate, and cite literature. We're going to be able to build our reference list and do in-text citations from the package. It's really useful. So we're going to download it. Click the download button. And it takes you to this page. It usually automatically picks up your computer, figures out what you've got, and gives you the right download. So download it for Windows or Mac or whatever. I'm going to show you one other thing. I'm going to point you to another thing here, which is this Zotero connector. And Zotero connector here installs into Chrome. It installs into other browsers as well. You can find them, and it puts a little symbol in your browser window. It's there. It's that one there. See, there comes up Save to Zotero. And it changes, that little icon changes depending on what it is you're going to save. And in my experience, it looks like that when it can't save the page. And I'll show you that when we get to it. So install the connector, because what you might want to do when you discover blogs or websites or whatever it is, you might want to grab that and stick it in Zotero. I have to say, I don't use it for that kind of stuff very often. I tend to use it exclusively for PDFs and PDFs of journal articles in the main. So that's Zotero. I'm going to show you one other thing that I just want you to be aware of, because I'm not sure exactly what's the situation at the moment, because I want you to be able to set up Zotero as your default PDF browser. If when I show you how to do that, it doesn't come up with Zotero as an option to be your PDF browser, you may have to download the Zotero beta version, and it's there. Zotero.org/support/beta_builds. That's what you might have to download. I had to download that because a beta version is just like a kind of a version that's in development. It may be in the version 6 now, but if it's not there, download the beta version and install that. It just installs over the top. Generally speaking, we're just going to download this version of it. You'll have to do that on your computer. You should know how to do that. I can't help you with that, especially if you've got anything other than a Mac. So get it downloaded and we're good to go. And when you install it, point it to your hard drive. I would say point it to a Dropbox if you've got one. I would strongly recommend you get a Dropbox. Point it to store files in your Dropbox so you've got them in the cloud so it's safe. And then what happens is we we end up with this here. This is what it'll look like. Obviously you won't have any documents in it like I've got, and you won't have any folders like I've got here. This will be empty, but you'll have this My Library thing at the top. And you need to start, as you mean to go on, by keeping everything under control. It's good to be organized. That's all part of that, creating the right environment. So what you need to do is create some folders. Create as many as you want. What kind of things are you going to collect in here? And you'll know depending on what you're going to study. Or you can just create them as you go. So you click New Collection, because that's what Zotero calls a folder. And for now, I'm just going to call this New Collection Demo Folder. Okay. And there it is. It's empty, but as you can see, if I go into one of my folders, say difficult communication folder, I've got journal articles in there, various journal articles, discrimination, disadvantage, just one in there, education, few in there. So I've got lots of things. So the demo folder is empty, and what we're going to do is that we're then going to drag a PDF that we've downloaded through our access through our university, or however you get your PDFs. You know, I'm sure whatever university you're in will have a format or a process to get access to your PDFs. At Sunderland House it's called Discover. There'll be others, and then we're going to drag something into this this folder here, and I'm going to show you two different things. What I'm going to show you, I'm going to drag this one in first. Pop that in. It loads it in, it copies the PDF into the folder, puts it into that folder, and there it is, it's in the folder. It's there for you to access. If you double click it, it opens it up. There we are, opens it up in Zotero for you to have a look at. So let's just go to the preferences, because I'm going to show you how to do that. So in preferences, you have to find this on your Windows PC if that's what you've got. In preferences, I'm going to show you a couple of things. First of all, in general, in preferences, this is what we're looking for. Open PDFs using Zotero. It might be set to system default. It probably will be when you first open it up. And that would open up whatever PDF browser you use, whatever PDF product you use, probably Adobe. Change it to Zotero. If it doesn't list Zotero there, that's when you need to go and get that that other version, that beta version from the website that I showed you before. So a couple of other things while I'm in here that I'll show you. Sync. Sync is the bit that you might have to pay for. Okay, I don't use this at all. You can sync to a Zotero account which stores all of the information on a Zotero server. I don't use that. Eventually you hit a ceiling where you have to start paying for storage, and it's not a very high ceiling. If you get Dropbox, you'll have more than enough space to store your PDFs. Just point Zotero to Dropbox and it'll save all your PDFs there. The other thing to draw your attention to while we're in here is Cite. Here's the different ways you can use the Cite function and build your reference lists. I click Cite and write 12th edition Harvard. Make sure that's selected. And then the other thing I want to show you in here is word processors. If you go into word processors, you'll see here I have got the Microsoft Word add-in installed. And that's important for when you're going to use Zotero to cite your references. So the Microsoft Word add-in is currently installed. Let me just show you that. If I show you that over here, something to be that's a more familiar view for you. It's got Zotero in the top menu bar. If you click it, you get these things here to add a citation, add a note, or add or edit your bibliography. I'll pop that over there for now. Come back to that. So make sure Zotero is your PDF browser, your PDF viewer. Don't use Sync. On Cite, select Cite and write Harvard or your particular style of referencing, and make sure you install this Microsoft Word add-in. It'll say install there rather than reinstall, which it says for me. So we've dragged this in. We've dragged this descent in social work, troubling the status quo into there, and not a lot's happened. It's said how big it is. I'm gonna load in a different PDF now, because if Zotero can find it online, it gives you loads of information and creates a folder automatically. So we'll drag that in, social workers art revisited. Zotero goes off to the internet. So we'll just wait here while Zotero does its stuff. It goes off and trolls the internet to find this this journal article. There we are, it's found it. So it's changed it from the title I had to add in the author and the year. It's put it in a folder, and it's put it in a folder because it's going to put other things in there like notes and whatever. And over here in this info tab, it's give it a type, it's listed the authors, it's told you where it's from, and when you've put it into your Zotero vault, and it's told you where the URL is that it's come from. So it's gone off and it's found that. There's a few other things we've got in here. We've got a notes tab. I'm going to show you that from a slightly different perspective, but you can add notes in here. Found this after a lecture. Add a note in. There we are. Done that. So we can add a note. About the PDF there. I couldn't remember how to do that. Go back to the folder that this is all in. See, it's added that note for me in there. Then you can tag things like you can in anything really. Really handy when you're searching. Social work, practice, art, whatever you want to do. And this little tab here, related, is quite useful. We can if we think we've got another PDF in our PDF store, we can add that in here so that we would go and search for it. I'll just pick a random one. We could search here, find a one that links to it, something that's related, and add that in. So it's there now for us. So if they're in the same folder, you probably don't need to do that. But if they're in separate folders and you think, oh, this links to that other journal article, then you can add it in there and keep a track of the ones that you think are related to each other. So info, notes, tags, related. Excellent. Now what we're going to do is we're going to we double clicked the descent and social work one, and it opened up here. It's left that open. We're going to double click this one, and it's going to open it up here. And let's have a look at this. So here we have this journal article. It's loaded it in just like it would look in Adobe. And we've got over here, we've got two things. We've got all notes, and this is all my notes, 37 more, all my notes in particular journal articles that I've made notes from. Yeah. And up here we've got this item. We've got item notes. Found this after a lecture. We typed that in the other view, didn't we? So what we could do is we can add notes into here in a few ways. We can click the little add button and say add item note. We get in here, we could just type into there. Here's another note. Yep. Or we could highlight something in the text. So we're reading the text and we find this bit, which is really interesting. So it's good to get a Nietzsche quote, isn't it? And we can add that to the note that we have open. Now that add note doesn't appear if you've not got your note screen open. So it adds it in there and it's popped it in there, look. If we wanted to also highlight it in the text, we could highlight it in the text with one of the highlight functions like that, and then right click and add to note, and it's popped that in there. Okay, so we can use it that way. The other thing that we can do is we could just go through and read the article, and we could highlight kind of various bits as we're going that we think are really important. These are all good bits, and then we can come to this page again and type and click add item note from annotations, and it will make one note from all the annotations in the article, and there they all are. And it's really good because it's giving you the reference as well. So you don't have to troll back through the article to find where that is to see what page number it was on if you need that. Remember, these are direct quotes, so reference them as such. So that's what we've got there. Unless you take them and paraphrase them, which is something for another time. It's useful when you are working through notes to take your quotes that you found and turn them into your own words. That's a great way to learn. So we have that. So you go through, you read the articles, and you annotate them, make notes from them. So just back to that again. Let's go through that again. We created a folder. We clicked this button here, and we created a folder. We called it demo folder. We then dragged into that folder. We then dragged a journal article. With this article here, it couldn't find it on the internet. I'm not sure why that is. Sometimes it doesn't. Could be behind a paywall, something like that. I'm not sure. Although I think that's a free article, so I'm not sure why it hasn't found it. Or it finds the article and creates. Once it finds it, it creates a record here, a kind of little folder to put all stuff in, and that then gives us this info tab here with all of this information. From this page, we can have a look at our notes. Yeah, so I've got that annotation note, and those two notes I made, they're there for us to look at. I created some tags for easy searching, and I related it to another article. In the article ourselves, we double clicked it, we opened the article, we highlighted things, and we either used add item to note, then highlighted the thing and it added it automatically, or we could have just typed a note in, or we highlighted lots of stuff and then added in add item note from annotations. A couple of other things we can do here. We can we're in highlight mode at the minute. We could click this and we could highlight a section and type a note in. Or this is not the best article to show you this on, but I find this really useful. If there's a diagram that I want to comment on, you could highlight the diagram. Right click if it doesn't pop up with the note straight away. Doesn't want to let me do that now, look. Because I'm not in my notes, am I? There we go. Add to note. There we go. Oh, there you are. It's popped up there. Okay. So that's just literally copied an image of that bit over. So that's how that would work. Okay. See, do you see that thing there that sometimes you're in here and you've forgotten to be in your notes over here, so it doesn't quite work as well. It doesn't realise that that's what you're trying to do. You've got to kind of go into a note with it for yourself. So that's really useful. Now let's have a look at that function in Word. Let me get a Word document up here. So we're in a Word document, we're typing, this is my assignment. And we think, oh, I've got a reference for that somewhere. I've got a reference for that thing that I've just written. You can add a citation in. And it comes up with a box. You've got Zotero running, so it comes up with a box. And you think, right, I want that social, that's that social work as art revisited. There it is there. Click it. Tells you what it's going to do, pop it in, and it puts the citation in there for you. Yeah, this is another bit. Add or edit the citation. Does not like it wants to find that one for some reason. I need to see why that's what's happening there. Let's just add one in. We find one about carers, for example, just to give you an example. There you go. That's added that in. Okay, so now we're going to add or edit a bibliography. There you are. What it's done, because we've already highlighted those two, because we've already referenced those two, it's created the bibliography for us. And now what will happen is if we put and another bit and go back and put another citation in. I must have some articles on coffee because I read a lot about coffee. I don't know how successful this one will be. It might not even be it is a journal article. There we go. It puts it in here and it adds it in down here. Yep. So you can, if you've got all of your PDFs that you're using in Zotero, you can add your citations in very easily, and it will create your bibliography or your reference list, however you do it in your university, it will add those things in. Obviously, if you're using books and you've not got the books as a PDF, which you're unlikely to have, you're unlikely to be able to download the book as a PDF, it won't be in here. So this is just really good for journal articles, but it'll take half the battle out, and particularly useful for dissertations, I suppose, where you'll be trying to keep track of a lot of journal articles. I just think this is really good. You don't have to worry and think about it. I mean, I'm being honest here. I would be, I'd be having a check of them at the end to make sure it's worked and it's done them fine. But see, it's picking them up, no problem, because we did that. We added one, then we added the bibliography, and then from then on, it just keeps the bibliography up to date for you. So that's Zotero. We created a folder, we dragged some articles in. Some of them it found the info for. It works pretty well. It finds the info for quite a few. It finds the info for most of them. We took some notes in here in this view. We tagged and we connected it to some related articles. In here we used these functions at the top to highlight and add to notes, to add a note in the text, to highlight something that maybe could be a picture or something, or a chart or whatever. And then we created notes over here by adding an item note and then highlighting, or add an item note from annotations. I think that's the best way to use it. Read the article, take your notes, highlight the bits you want, and then just do add note from annotations, and then you get them all in one go. Because what I would do with that next, and this is for the next video, is I'd take all of those annotations and I'd cut and paste them into Obsidian, where I'd then format them into some sort of format where I'd start linking them to other ideas, other concepts, other bits of learning. So there you go. That's Zotero for you. And there's one other thing, actually, I forgot about this. There's one other thing, so I'm pleased I popped that up just to show you the logo again, because this works. I would say this can be a little patchy, but it works really well for articles like this from newspapers. You'll see I've gone into this page. The Zotero, that's the Zotero icon, because I installed the connector. If you it changes depending on what the web page is, and usually when it's that icon we saw before, let me show you that one, it means it's not going to copy it. But if it turns to this newspaper kind of thing, I think that's what that's meant to be, and we click it, it'll say, shall we snapshot this web page to this folder? Yeah, let's do that. There we are. There we go. It's copied it into the Zotero folder. So there it is as a snapshot of the website. And open that up again, and you can do the same with blogs, for example. You see it's changed it to a different icon there, so we can do that. You can change the folder it shares it to, so you can keep track of things. You can put them into folders in Zotero as well. So there you go. There's Zotero. Get that downloaded as soon as possible, because the sooner you start collating your PDFs, your journal articles into some system like this, the less likely you are to lose them and not be able to find them later on when you've got something important to do. Strategize your learning. There you go. So I hope that's helpful, and we will talk again about another tool very soon.